Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This YouTube thing is interesting. So far I have one video posted and I'm only on my second video and I'm already running into frustrations and issues. So for my second video that's supposed to go out on Thursday, I spent an hour or so trying to do the audio because I kept messing up my thoughts and the things I was trying to articulate. And I thought I had it down. Thought I had everything recorded and edited and was ready to upload the video. I even had it scheduled to be published on Thursday. Today's Monday. But something in me just told me to go back and check on the video. And I did. And the audio is completely jacked up. And on top of that, I can't find the audio files. So I am going to try to redo this completely right now. So here we go. All right. So, two things that I want to cover in this video. One, I want to talk about my history with marathon training and running in general. I want to talk about my current goals, some races that I have lined up, and what my weekly strategy looks like in terms of the details of the different types of workouts I do and what my weekly volume is. The second topic that I want to cover is something that's been on my mind lately, and it has to deal with this notion that people are the same and different at the same time. But it seems that there's a group of people who fail to realize that fact. So, for the first topic, I just wanted to give a little more color to my history with marathon training and really how I got into it and why I still do it to this day. So, I started running short distance, 5Ks and things like that when I was in high school because I was in a JROTC program and I knew that I was going to join the military and wasn't sure which branch I was going to do. At one point, I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. At one point, I wanted to join Delta Force. Um, Fun times. But I knew that I had to be physically fit and I knew that I had to run. And so I started running with a lot of my friends. And with that ROTC program, we did orienteering. So that's land navigation. You're given a map. You're supposed to go out into the woods and find these different points. And whoever can do that in the fastest time wins. And so I had some incentive to start running. But again, it was short distance, 3 miles, 3 or 4 miles here or there. When I got into college, that's when I figured out, or I guess decided that I was going to join the Marine Corps. And the Marines have a 3 mile as a part of their physical fitness test. And so my goal was to run 3 miles as fast as I can, or as fast as I could. And so that was what I was primarily training for there. 15, 20 miles a week, no real strategy, just trying to push as hard as I can every single time that I would go out and run. I get into the Marine Corps. I'm able to run 3 miles in about 18 minutes, 17 minutes. And it wasn't until 2020, I think it was 2020 or it was 2021, when I found a video on YouTube of Nick Bear, and he was at that time training for a sub 3 hour marathon, I believe. And I thought that this was very cool. I loved his videos. I definitely got hooked onto his company, and I believe in his brand. And so I decided to try and run. I decided to try and run 26.2 miles. So this time I'm deployed to Okinawa, Japan. Very hilly out there. Um, I was already pushing my weekly mileage to about 35, 40 miles a week with longer runs, with progressively longer runs each Saturday, starting at around 14 miles. And I was able to build up to 18 and eventually 20 miles in one go. I remember leaving the base each day when I would go to run and just try to explore and find different beaches and different sites. Was definitely a beautiful island, and that helped with all the running. But on the day that I did the distance, the 26.2 miles, it was definitely grueling. I believe I finished in about 4.5 hours, a little over 4.5 hours. I had not really I had a lackluster nutrition plan. And I thought that, well, I did the 20 miler, so 6.2 adding onto it shouldn't be too much of a difference. At one point, I believed I had what was a full body cramp. I was crawling at one point. Um, it was painful. It was fun. I'm very happy that I've developed a level of fitness that allows me to be able to run a marathon now and still live. But I guess I had to go through that experience to understand the importance of proper preparation. And so since then, I've ran 4 marathons. My most recent marathon was in October of 2023, and I ran a sub 3 hour marathon, just barely, 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 23 seconds, I believe. And so now my current goal is to run a sub 250 marathon. I don't have anything on the schedule yet, but I'm looking for something at the end of this year. The next race that's going to be a gauge of my fitness is the Atlanta Peachtree. It's a 10K. And uh, my partners and I, my running buddies, and I are all playing with the volume, the weekly volume, to see how much we might need to increase or if we're good where we're at. We're I'm currently at 60 I'm currently at 60 miles a week. And one of my buddies goes upwards of 75 or 80. And so this Peachtree is going this 10K race is definitely going to be a test to see how we're doing. Currently, I'm of the belief that I'm okay at 60 miles. I might need to increase it to 65, but really my goal is just to run my speed workouts, my faster runs faster while maintaining the volume that I'm currently at. 60 miles, a weekly volume of 60 miles was what allowed me to get to a sub 3 hour. We'll see if it'll allow me to get to sub 250. Now, I've kind of already alluded to it. My weekly volume, again, is about 60 miles per week. And I definitely follow the 80-20 rule, where 80% of my runs are easy, anywhere from a 9 minute to a 9:30 minute per mile pace, something that's conversational where I'm not breathing too hard. I could comfortably breathe through my nose throughout the entire time. And then 20% of my miles are tempo or threshold runs, at marathon pace or faster. All right, moving on to the second topic. What I want to talk about is this failure or inability of some people to reconcile two truths: that people are the same and and that people are different. So how are we the same? Well, we're all humans. We're all social creatures. We all have this ability to abstract mentally. We can all feel pain. We all have similar goals, etc., etc. Now, how are we different? Well, we vary by temperament. We all have different levels of each personality trait. We have different levels of intelligence. We have varying interests. We have different levels of strength and agility. And there are many more dimensions in which we differ. And both of those facts are true at the same time. One of the things that I'm seeing is an overvaluation of diversity, or the latter truth that everyone is different. And I'm seeing in this group of people that they're forgetting the first one, that we also share many experiences and goals. So I'll hear people, for example, say that no one understands what I'm going through, let's say, as a Black woman. They'll pick an identity factor and cling to it and assume a monolithic unity within that group. And so the logic is something like all Black people think the same, or more specifically, all Black women think the same, and white men or Asian women have no idea what I'm going through as a Black woman. It's an interesting line of reasoning, but I feel that just as with many ideas that can become radicalized, or if they're taken too far, they can become dangerous. When someone thinks that they are so different that no one else can understand them, it somewhat breaks the potential for there to be empathy. And I think that empathy is something that we're lacking in our society currently. Now, it's complicated because, as I mentioned before, there is some truth in it. Each individual is a unique, divine locus of control and value. There are some, each person has their own individual perspective, and there are some problems that can only be dealt with those perspectives. And so there is definitely a need for diversity of thought and diversity of perspectives, but not to the detriment of that which unites us and that which holds us together. I saw this book recently and it was titled White Women. And the subtitle was something along the lines of everything you already know about your own racism. And one of the, what are those called? Blurbs from other authors or from um, news sources. It said, it said something along the lines of, finally, a manual for teaching us white women to shut up and listen. And to me, the ideas espoused by this book, I'll be transparent, I haven't read it. I don't plan on reading it. I think if the title and subtitle and the blurbs on the back um, indicate any sort of unified idea, if I understand it, this book is a manifestation of the pathology of diversity. It's an overvaluation of that which makes us different in an interesting way because it's not even at the individual level. It's at the level of a group identity. But still, what I can see happening from that is that we can become locked into our own silos, isolated away from connections with anyone else because we can convince ourselves that no one else will understand us. And even more so, we can become so rigid in our thinking that we fail to give off that empathy towards other people as well. And so those are just some of the things that have been on my mind recently. Curious to know all of your thoughts. Let me know what you think about the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.